Welcome, folks. Thank you so much for being here in our season 11 thank you episode with Antorne McLeod. And Antorne was a very special person for me, with me, by me, and you'll learn more about that. So, thank you for being here. Hi, folks. Thank you for being here. Ozzy Stewart, Season 11, Thank You Project segment of our On The Call podcast network experience. And I appreciate you for tuning in. On this episode, I'm shining light on Antorne McLeod, who has a rich background in various sectors. And at one point, he was there by and for me in the beginning of my podcast experience. So please like, follow, share, comment, support us, donate, check out our store, become a member for our Inside the Call podcast. We do have that, all right? And on Inside the Call, it's a membership. We know it's $35, but you get 20 insider conversations only there for you. So here we go. A little bit about Antorne. He was born in Downstate Hospital in Brooklyn. And why I say Downstate? Because my son was also born in Downstate. So there is that connection as well. He didn't even know that. He was born into a culturally rich family with a Jamaican father and a Trinidadian mother. His heritage significantly shaped his identity. Raised in a vibrant household, Antorne was influenced by his grandmother, a Carib Indian, who nurtured a large family of 22 children. And I say Carib Indian because on my side, we have that as well. The lively atmosphere was filled with music, traditional dances, cultural gatherings, a lot of parties with his grandma, on the floor hanging. Okay, laying a strong foundation for Antorne's appreciation of community and familial bonds. Antorne pursued an associate's degree in business from the University of Phoenix from 2014 to 2016, which provided him with theoretical knowledge that complemented his practical experiences, equipping him with solid foundation in business principles. His career spans, as I said before, various sectors, showcasing his versatility, adaptability, and commitment to making a positive impact in the workplace. He's presently managing a swim company called Big Blue Swim School, and they're apparently flooding the market across the country. So he's there currently working with children, which is something he loves to do. Antorne led a dedicated team at Knockout Renovation, managing complex renovation projects after serving as an office assistant, where his leadership, developing essential administrative skills, and gaining a strong grasp of renovation management processes, organization skills, and hands-on customer service experience contribute to successfully meeting project goals. As a financial analyst at SUNY Downstate College of Medicine, he managed financial data focusing on mitigating overdue debt. His impactful contributions earned him recognition despite facing challenges from resistance to change within the department. And we won't go there right now on that. He was a content writer for Industry Rules magazine, utilizing his writing talent to produce articles covering industry trends, and insights, allowing him to share his knowledge with a broader audience. And then, prior to that, he became an administrative assistant for Ms. Yvette Clarke congressional campaign, which began his career in a politically charged environment, gaining insights into campaign management after persistent efforts to secure this particular role. A year. Prior to this, he held positions in customer service and sales. Personally, Antorne has expressed concerns regarding the early childhood education system and healthcare, advocating for systemic reform. His experiences at SUNY Downstate highlighted the challenges faced in patient care and financial management, leading him to feel alienated during this tenure. A memorable comment from a rabbi during this time was, "They don't want you here," because of the right work that he was doing, which further illustrated his struggles against the status quo. Culturally, his adventurous spirit has led him to travel extensively throughout the Caribbean, exploring cultures in places like St. Kitts. I've never been there. I need to go there. Nevis, St. Vincent, and the Grenadines. His travel adventures have enriched his understanding of diverse communities and lifestyles. Now, artistically, Antorne reads about 18 to 20 comics weekly. Do you see this here, people? Do you see this here? Just for him. Came out just for him. And has a long-standing love for Marvel comics. He enjoys visual storytelling and has explored photography through collaborations with musical friends. His experiences have allowed him to meet notable celebrities. One was Fred the Hammer Williamson. I loved him. I used to have such a crush on him. Ooh. And participate in events that celebrate artistic accomplishments. Additionally, he has an interest in video editing and marketing, honing skills that align with his passion for storytelling and audience engagement. He remains engaged in artistic endeavors, community involvement, and continuous learning. He's always learning, focusing on personal development and honing his skills. His journey reflects resilience, passion for helping others, and a commitment to cultural roots, influencing both his professional and personal life. And I was so grateful to have him with me in the early stages. So grateful. And now we're going to ask him some stuff. Let's dig in there. So, what brings you joy in what you're presently doing, which is managing swim? Because you've done all of these other things, writing, all of these other things. What is it?
I actually have asked myself this question recently because it's some things that I've been asking my staff. But it's just people. Just meeting people, seeing people, like just watching them, seeing families, meeting, learning new things about people, like thinking something and then like they are like, no, that's not it. And I'm like, oh my goodness. Right. And like, I've never heard of that before.
Yeah.
And I thought I knew a lot about it.
Right.
But yeah, just people.
What motivated you to transition from an office assistant to the team lead manager at Knockout?
That was interesting because I had decided to approach the process of looking for jobs differently, and I blended my creative resume, which was separate than my office resume. So I had like, you work at, the stores and blah, 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 and all this cashier and blah, 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 blah. But I had like all of my graphic design and all that other stuff on a different resume. And then I just put them together, and that's what got me hired at that job. So I had just thought it was like not possible at the time to do it, but I was like, no, this is just what I'm gonna do. And he hired me based off of more of the creative side. He was like, tell me about these events you were handling. And he was like more concerned about, working with, because designers are artists, and he was just more concerned with like, how do you handle artists? Right. How do you, do you know how to do that? Can you keep them straight? Can you talk to them in the ways that they need to be spoken to?
Right.
And I thought that was interesting.
Wow. So, as a team lead manager, how do you describe your leadership style? What strategy do you use to motivate your staff?
I don't manage people. I manage only the job. I believe that you create expectations by doing. So like if your standards are high, then like, you know, I feel like things are no-brainers. You hire adults. I've never done any rocket science, so I know it's not something that is like should be taking us all the way out. We shouldn't be stressed. But yeah, in my experiences, managers, I feel like they need to control people, and that never goes well. You can't tell. I don't believe in telling adults what to do. I believe that you give people the job, they accept it, you train them, and if they don't know something, it's because you didn't train them, and they should say that, like, look, I don't know, and then I'm gonna say, my bad. Let me show you.
Yeah.
So weird, because in environments that don't foster that, I run into trouble because I'd rather show people how to do things that makes the job easier, so we don't have to constantly be watching you. And some structures are not like that. But in a creative office, it works like that. So if I can get the designers to fast track some of the things that they're doing, and I'm like, let me show you the steps. And if you'll come in early, I'll come in early, we can do it. And they do it, you know, we all grow. So yeah, I believe in not necessarily managing people, but like empowering the situation. And if you see people are struggling at something, the greater picture is like, this office needs training. Let's let everybody learn something new.
Well, you know, managing diverse roles can also be challenging, right?
Yeah.
So, have there been any mentors or figures in your life who have significantly influenced your path? You have different career paths, you know?
Yeah, I've been fortunate to have people come and go. But yeah, everywhere I go, I always run into someone who I would say was like the person who was like watching me from the side, and then would call me over and be like, let me tell you something. But yeah, that's just always how I am. And my patience lends to, I think, people saying like, okay, I want to like protect this person. So like at the office or at Downstate, there was people that really, you know, took care of me. And I remember one of my managers, when he left, he was telling people like, don't ruin what we have. And like, these young people are here, like, let's not sabotage them, let's protect them. And I thought that was like, I've been fortunate to run into, everywhere I go, I run into someone
Who embraces you.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Yeah.
What is your approach to then, because what you're doing is also customer service.
Yeah.
Right? So how do you ensure that your customers, or I'm not sure what you would call them, who come through that business?
Yeah. I think the line between sales and customer service, when customer service feels like sales, I can't do it. But if customer service is about like me learning something and feeling passionate about it, and then like helping you understand it, I can do that all day. So I'm good at translating information. So if it is something that I like I worked at Levi's, and they didn't like that I was sending women to the men's section. And I was just like, some women can't fit the jeans that you are, like the black girls that come in here, I'm telling them, go get the boyfriend jeans. Like that's what my girlfriend was using. So like stuff like that, it's like, okay, you're breaking the thing. And I'm like, okay, you want more sales than custom. You want me to sell women's jeans more than selling the store and this experience. And like, this girl's gonna come back because she actually knows I would rather buy. What's the problem?
Yeah.
So yeah, I like the customer service part. I like talking to people about my experience or something, and they're like, wow, I never saw it like that. And it's just the way I explained it.
Right.
But if it's more about sales, I'm not with that. I don't like that.
What were the key lessons that you learned from the time at SUNY? Because you went through a lot there.
Yeah. I learned, the main thing I learned was to not second guess yourself, to trust yourself. That's the biggest thing. Like someone said that to me when I was at the peak of my stress, and which was not even when I was leaving. Like when I was leaving, I felt pretty okay about it. But when I was like in the midst of it and feeling like, man, it feels like everybody's against me here. And one of my managers, she called me in the office, and she was the type that call you in the office, and then before you leave, she would pretend that she was screaming at you so people could be like, ooh, you got. And she would just call me being like, sit down, make some coffee, hang out for a little bit. Like, don't let these women stress you out.
Right.
And then, you know, she'd give you like some candy. We'd talk about something, like her grandson. She showed me some pictures. And then when I'm leaving, she'd be like, and I don't want to see that, you in here for that again. You know, she was like that type of person.
Yeah.
And one time she told me, like, are you doing something wrong? And I'm like, no, I'm doing what the job entails. I'm doing exactly what this job entails. And she was like, then why are you in here? Like, stop second guessing yourself. Stop. If you know what you're doing, then do it. So that I tell people that a lot. Faith in yourself. That's something I don't think people are hearing enough, to believe in yourself. I think people used to say that a lot more.
Yeah.
Believe in yourself.
Right.
But a lot of people are not in those spaces today.
How do you see advancements in technology affecting what you do?
My viewpoint on that, I like it. I'm okay with tools advancing. My imagination lends for things to be further than I don't think that's crazy. I think where we're at now, I think like a cell phone, this is a computer in your hands, is very common in the world, that places that are extremely poor, they can get that. And depending on what they do, some kids building a car. And some people is doing social media or whatever, dancing or whatever they doing. But like any tool, like fire, that when they gave fire to humans, it depends on what you do with it. Some people cooking, and now this was good. Some people will destroy people. I think of everything like that as a tool, that if you shun the tools, then you're automatically putting yourself in an illusion. Like, you should try and understand what the future is.
Let's put that towards the AI thing that's happening, because there's a lot of fear. I don't know if you saw there's a conversation I had with Cecil Bartholomew this past season. He was there at the beginning of the whole AI thing. Even though he's a classical jazz guitarist, that was his thing with Xerox for like 3 decades or something like that. But still, and he's kind of broke it down in a way that made me feel a little more secure or a little more calm about it. But what are your feelings about the world, the digital AI world that we're in? Because it's like he said, it's here until the end. That's it.
I'm following it. Obviously, we can make a bunch of predictions about it, and a lot of people have made a lot of predictions about like the ups and the downs and the lefts and the rights that it could be. But I feel like it is a tool. I feel like just like I was teaching, basic computer knowledge, because recently with computers, there's no explanation between the times when things had words on it, and now we're in a world of symbols only. So if you bought a Pepsi can, it said Pepsi.
Right.
Now they're just doing that logo. Even Target has just become a logo. Dunkin' Donuts don't even want the whole word on the thing. I don't know what space they're trying to save, but it's just DD.
Right.
You know, so like if you are not keeping up,
Yeah.
then you're like, where is the space?
Dunkin'
Where's the
Donuts.
things, right?
Yes.
So computers used to say menu, it used to say close,
Right.
it used to say start,
Right.
like words like that. Now it's just a little thing, a logo.
Yeah.
You know, my mom was on the computer, it's like just colors. It's not even the logo.
Right.
I'm telling her like it's the hamburger menu. She has no idea when did they teach that?
Right.
You know, so as things advance, I feel like the gaps that are getting wider, like with capitalism, with money, is also the information gap.
Mm-hmm.
So if I can see something and tell instantly it's AI, but my mom is seeing something, she's literally freaking out, like, oh my God, what is happening?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, wait, that video is fake. But to both of us, it does look real.
Mm-hmm.
I just know that it's AI. That's an information gap.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I feel like those parts are always dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
But there are people who, you know, whatever, just try and keep up. I feel like that's important. That's why it's so sad that this country is like not necessarily an education first country, and people are doing this like, I'd rather be on a party side and I'd rather do all of this other stuff, because that world of information actually does help. If you're using AI, it will help. We can actually do a lot with like fire, right? We can do a lot with it, but we're not using it, we're shunning it. And then all of these other people are now gonna advance way further,
Right.
because what they're doing with it, a virtual assistant, a cookbook, or this or that.
Right.
It's like, I was telling my friend today, I told two of my friends about it. I said, do you remember when people were mad that you couldn't Google something? Like, just Google it.
Right.
And that's the same thing. People were saying that information, you should actually know this, because the technology is readily at our fingertips,
Right.
and we all had got comfortable with that at some point,
Right.
where you'd be like, oh, I don't believe you, Google it.
Right.
And now we the whole, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
like encyclopedia is at our hands.
Yeah.
So like, how much people live in Indonesia? Let's Google it. And we
Right.
know the exact number. There's an accurate number.
Yeah.
So I feel like the same thing. It's another tool that if we don't pay attention to the resourcefulness of it and where that can like plateau us to like new things, because if you have a virtual assistant that can do a lot of stuff for you.
Do you have a virtual assistant?
Yeah, I use it all the time.
Yeah.
I use it so freely. Young people that I talk to are using it all the time. All the time.
Is a virtual
crazy.
assistant different from going into like the AI account and then, you know, what do you want? How can I help you? And then you create something?
That's it. It's the same thing, yeah. It's how can I help you?
Right.
It's, you know, I have a document that I don't understand.
Right.
I read a book. There's some specific thing that I'm trying to do.
Right.
It's a larger thing than just like write a paper for me about this. But also it's that.
Right.
And then there's also the spaces where people are actually saying like, look, I'm having trouble with, you know, my brother, and me and him fell out over dinner years ago, and I really don't know what to do. And that is telling you, like, I'm not a psychologist, but here's information that I've found on like people who are having issues in the family and what you can do. Then it even show you the hotline to find like a therapist, you know, and then it's asking you like, do you need more information? And then as you grow, it's learning about you. So the more you ask it questions, the more it kind of, so it's very weird. But again, at some point, it's gonna be so normal that if you don't know it, then you're that person that they're like, why didn't you just Google it? Yeah, they're like, are you kidding me? Do you know about Google? And they're like, no, I don't know about that. And it's like, that's why you're probably in the ice age. The AI also is proven, because it's artificial intelligence. If it's untampered, it's proven that it's a logic-based system. You know what I mean? So it's like condemning racism. It's being honest about stuff. Like, you know, it's not necessarily just what you want it to be. It's telling you the truth for real. So that, that can be good for that can be good for a lot of people.
Never thought of that.
Yeah.
Never thought of that.
Yeah.
Okay, how has your experience as a content writer shaped your communication skills in your professional roles? Because, you're pretty skilled with being able to take things apart, explain things. And you used to have to explain a lot to me.
Yeah, I don't know. I like hearing people's stories. And then asking questions also. So the blend was like in the dictation, it feels like you're reliving the event, or like in the editing and all of those other things, it feels like you're reliving the event. So it's just weird. When I'm interested in something, I do want to collect as much information. I feel like it's called continuity. Yeah, I'm a continuity person. Like, I'm reading a comic book, and in comic books, they often do like, this person has changed his costume, right? And I'm like, oh, when did they change the costume? And there'll be a little tag that'll be like, okay, Spider-Man's changed his costume in a whole other book, like Iron Man 275. So I'm like, okay, now I have to stop and read Iron Man 275. Because I need to know, like, why his costume is changed first. So, like, that's how I am about storytelling, and people respond well to that because they're like, okay, you're not asking me surface, or you're not in the surface. Like, you're really in this place. Like, wow, I'm like, what is this about for real? And as opposed to, like what the title of it is or whatever. Like, yeah.
Let's get to your campaign experience with Ms. Clark.
Yes.
What did you find most rewarding about that time? And how did that influence your career trajectory, or did it?
I learned a lot about community. I learned a lot about politics. I was campaigning, not when she was it was small time kind of. But I was like going to the train stations and doing those things in the morning, and I got familiar with that. But I was also like listening to what was happening and what people were complaining about and what she had access to do. And, just kind of feeling like I do want to know what this means.
With that information, did you ever take it back to her to let her know what people are talking about, or no?
Yeah, the nice part was that she saw me like a family member kind of thing. So she was open to talk about it. She was open to say, like, this is not something that we do here. And I feel you, because this is the most we get or whatever. But let me show you. And then she was the type that would foster it and be like, it would be like events where they're going to go to like a town hall or whatever. And she's allowed to bring this many people. And she would bring the young people from the office. And, two of us would not be paying attention, but two of us would be sitting here like, oh, this is where Albany, this is how we get the money. I was learning about that was like Bloomberg times, and they was like dezoning things. And it did make me feel like there's all of this information right around us. And if you don't know it, then you're not empowered. And so I was like, taking that information and breaking it down to people like, yo, bro, you need to vote like for your congresswoman. I remember working for a judge who would he told me that he was the one, like, if I get a ticket on the street, he's the judge. And I was like, wait, hold on, can I introduce you to some people? And I remember telling friends, they was like, wait, hold on, this is the guy. They felt so empowered, like, hold on, we could reach this dude and we could pick him. And when we go to court, we could know that this is a person who's not looking at us crazy. And people felt empowered to vote. Like, people felt like, forget about the president. Like, yo, this local dude is the low city court judge. This is the dude who's gonna throw that ticket out. Because, so that information was empowering for people to know, like, that is right on the side That's right here.
Right.
The guy lived a couple blocks from us. Yvette Clark lived on my block. She lived across the street.
Wow.
You know.
I met her last year.
Oh, nice.
I have a picture I'll show you later.
Nice.
How does your cultural heritage influence your approach to work? Does it?
To work?
To work.
Yes. That's I don't know. That's just the foundation of who I am. That I feel like the Caribbean culture has a certain like dynamic element that that's just how I am.
A lot of times when I meet somebody, an owner of a company, and they find out that I'm Trinidadian. Oh, I have my staff. She does such a great work.
Yeah.
She works overtime. She doesn't complain.
Yeah.
All the time.
I'm sort of conflicted. There's always two ways. I'm in with like a lot of Asian culture. So when I say Trinidad, they're like, Trinidad? I'm like, okay, West Indies? And they're like, oh, cricket.
Yes.
But yeah, it's weird views about it. But the cultural diversity of the Caribbean is what people don't necessarily understand.
Correct.
They don't know that the food in Trinidad, you can't have a Caribbean food.
Right.
There's no such thing. That's
Right.
like having Spanish food.
Correct.
You know, it's Cuban and Puerto Rican food not the same.
Same,
They're not
correct.
even eating the same stuff.
Correct. But they don't realize that there's so much diversity just in that country.
Right. So that's the thing that I have picked up about the Caribbean is that the diversity is actually very specific.
Right.
Barbados, if you can't even understand somebody from Dominica or like Suriname or something like that.
Yeah.
Like it's like foreign.
Yeah.
And Africa is like that. Europe is like that. Most of the world is like that.
Yeah.
You know, I'm meet Indians. I'm like, namaste. They're like, I don't speak that. I'm like, I thought you was Indian. I thought Indians spoke that.
Right.
And they're like, no, we're South Indian. We speak Telugu. And it's like, okay, yes. If we group people, then we're unfair to like actually experiencing what makes them different. So that is to me is about the Caribbean because people are like, oh, you Jamaican, and I'm like,
Right.
you know, I'm kind of,
Yes.
you know what I'm saying? Like depends on what time of the year it is, maybe. And then even with Trinidad, it's like I love the Trinidad culture, but I also have a smaller island thing, and there's a small island culture too of like people who are from small islands.
Yes.
They're a certain way.
That's right.
Also, so
That's right.
yeah.
What has been your least favorite job to date?
I worked at a pharmacy. It was the single worst thing I've ever done. I worked for a litigation funding company. Shout out to them. But that was like hedge fund, in the Empire State Building. If it wasn't in such an iconic place, if it wasn't like such a great experience in New York to like work in the Empire State Building, I would say like that we were like really scamming people. And I didn't like that. They was like really on it. Yeah. But it's a compounding interest. It's about money.
Yeah.
So if people get into a lawsuit, you're like lending them money before the lawsuit comes. But the goal is to take all their money when the lawsuit comes.
Wow.
Like, oh, you need this money right now. Your leg is broke. So low key, we would try to tell people like, bro, if you don't need it, just wait. Like wait it out. Get the $1 million 2 months before your lawsuit, so you only pay us back $1 million plus. But you trying to get the $1 million 3 years. Right. We're gonna be taking $20 million from you by the time that is over. So it's like hard to be honest with people. Like you know what I'm saying? Like, don't do it. But I worked at a pharmacy, and that was in the hood. I've never been treated so racist, man. These guys, I came there to be a pharmacy tech, and he would not train me. They were doing all types of scams and stuff, and just all types of like letting people sell. Like, I was telling him like, yeah, the people are selling the stuff across the street. So like, you have to stop. You can't give them stuff if you know that they're selling it. You know, like you got to be good. That would be good for this community because you're allowing these people to get things that are supposed to be health related and they just selling it. You know, they buying drugs, bruh. Like, you know that. You facilitating the circle. And like they, like some shut up. And these people will come before the 1st and the 15th. Like, you know my money gonna hit. Let me just get a couple pills. And he slotted them a couple pills. And I was just like, bruh, you guys are doing like wild illegal practices. Oof. Then he put me on the lotto machine because he didn't like how I was talking. So like, now I'm in the hood getting screamed at the lotto machine, like by people that they see me walking after. So I'm telling him, like, I'm walking through this neighborhood, bro. Like, I'm not like y'all. Y'all is only white guys. I'm the only black guy there. Then he like tried to put the finish in. This was like the cherry. He's like, oh, I want you to make the drop-off deliveries. I was like, where? In the projects? I was like, nah. Y'all walk in the projects, people not gonna treat y'all the same.
Right.
They asking me why I'm in here. Right. They're not asking you why you're in here. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. Like, that's different. I'm not knocking on nobody's door. One person I knocked on the door, the man had a knife in his hand, like, what you do? And I got his grandmother medication. I'm like, bro, I don't want nothing from you. But it's like, I look like somebody that's too familiar for him. Wow. If it was a white guy at the door, he know that's the dude bringing his grandma medication. But he looking at this black guy like, what the hell? This is that beef from the park. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm just dropping off stuff. So that job I actually had to, I remember I told him I was taking lunch. He told me I couldn't get off on my birthday after doing all of this horrible stuff for him. And I was telling him I was concerned. And I was like, look, my birthday is coming up. And he was like, you gonna work on your birthday. And I remember coming in like, I need to take a lunch break. And I just called my friend like, yeah, I just quit this job, man. That's the first time I ever like had to quit. It was the worst. It was the worst. But they were scamming employees. They had these 2 Spanish girls working like 90 hours, 100 hours, and they was only paying them for 20 hours. What? Because the agreement was they'll try and hook them up so they can stay on benefits. It was like some weird stuff. But like all of that was just like, y'all getting over, y'all okay with that. And it wasn't okay with me. Right. So I had to just be like, I'm leaving, man. What are you most proud of in your career and life? I always felt like I wanted to be, I don't know, like a kid, like a child or whatever. But what it translates to as I got older was just being present, because I feel like that's what kids do the most. Like, the kids get, you beat them and then they cry, but then you got the icy and then they start crying and there's some matter. It's like, they moved on. They like ready to lay on you again. Right. It's like everything is cool. Right. Because they have like a certain presence of them that they're really about the moment that they're in. And in my career, I feel like I'm most proud of like being able to like take this moment and be like, okay, now I'm a journalist. Now I'm reading magazines about it. Now I'm like studying it. Now I'm like looking at Barbara Walters. Now I'm learning this. Now I'm learning that, and finding what it feels like to me. Same as graphic design or, any job. Being present allows me to mold the situations to like how I am, like the version that I do it. Would you then say that the comic books also keeps you in that? Yeah, it keeps my, that's kind of how I feel about New York. It just keeps my imagination on edge. So things are not surprising to me because like I've imagined so many different ways that this could be in different colors and different spaces. Because like a kid, I'm looking out the window and I'm imagining like there's, it's endless possibilities for me. Right. So I'm happy that I don't feel stifled to like look at things non-abstractly. But it also means that you're learning every day. Yeah, and you're willing to be open in that. Yes. I'm learning it. as I go, I'm observing and like, just allowing all that information to hit me, whether I feel it or not. I'm just allowing it to like hit me. And in life, honestly, I was able to, I had children at a young age, and not the best situation, like natural families. But I was able to spend a lot of times with my daughter in influential time for her in New York, and we got to experience that growth together. And it was like a year I was able to go. I went to like every school trip that she had. And they like gave me an award, like a parent award. Like they knew I was coming. Like kids were like behaving because they wanted to be in the group that I was in. Because I was like big on like, all right, Chelsea, like you could pick 2 friends, but I'm picking kids too. And I like Pablo, he's coming. And like I need Shorty over there. Like I need them. You know what I'm saying? Like I like these 2. And it's like it's her trip. But I'm like, I'm the parent. They let me get 4 kids. I'm taking Pablo. You already know Pablo. The whole class knew I loved Pablo. Pablo didn't even know why. I brought him comics, all of that. I was like, Pablo, because when he come to school, the way his clothes look is the way he going home. He's a very neat kid. He'll run and like stop at the step to like take 1 step, but he gonna slow down. I was like, I like Pablo. He could come with us. And like, let's get this other girl who nobody trying to pick. Like, I want her too. Let's see what her story is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And also I was having a good time with them kids. But that's also why my daughter was like, okay, you need to be teaching kids at some point in your life, because she's like, Daddy, you're having too much fun here. But yeah, those experiences, us taking the train, going to like her track practice at Prospect Park, like being that like in with her, I was glad. I even it started honestly with Barack Obama. That the stock market crash, I had got laid off, but they extended the unemployment for 2 years, and I stayed home with her for 2 years. We stopped doing daycare. I was like, if they're gonna do unemployment, then like I might as well just stay home and be like a stay-at-home dad. And I got to do that 2 years. Me and her were just home. I taught her. She walked early. She talked early. Like we had routines. Went to the park every single day. Like, it was pretty good. So wow. I was lucky, and that I was very happy that I was able to like get that time with her.
Wow.
Now so when people talk to her, they're like, oh, I could see your father. Your father be saying the same thing. Right.
So with that, as we go back to that time, that would be, if I were to ask you the question, what is the upside of the COVID years?
Same thing.
Yeah.
For me. Yeah. The first week, and I'm a New Yorker, so obviously, that for me that means we treat disaster differently.
Yeah,
and we're prepared differently. So I was home fine. People were really afraid. People calling me like, "Oh, New York is." I heard there's tanks at Wall Street. I'm like, there's nobody. Right. Still the same homeless guys over there. There's nothing changed. But my daughter wanted to come to New York, and she spent the whole time with me. She did the online school there, and it was nice.
And look at that, we worked during that time.
Yeah, we did a lot of work.
We did a lot of work.
Yeah, I thought it was a very good time. You saw I was going to the office. I was taking the train.
Yeah.
I was very, like I said, I was very present during it, and not allowing fear to distract me from things, and we did everything. My niece came from Ohio. We had a great time, honestly. So, to end this conversation now, what are 2 top things that you're grateful for in your personal life? I'm grateful for just the people that I've met. I feel honestly the same way that you do about the people throughout the journey. I was here one day. I did a lot of walking and just like seeing things. But the way I feel like I treat people, I have some friends that are still like that. Like my friend, I stayed with him. It was like we're like family. But he's just like, no problem. Come whenever you want, leave whenever you want. Do you need this? He said something that I thought is interesting. I feel like you got to be in a certain place with someone when you go by your house, and he's in the kitchen like, yo, Torn, you ate? Like he's about to offer you food. And I was like, oh, that's, I did eat, but those little things I am grateful for. Yeah. Just my experiences with people have, for the most part, and that's, I would say 98% of the people that I've met have been positive. So I'm grateful for that.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful that I have a perspective about like, that things don't. I have the never give up kind of perspective. I have the like things are not always done perspective. So I don't know if that's a DNA thing. I've been questioning whether that is something that's in my actual DNA, because I have a lot of friends at my age. I have a lot of friends that are going through different things that I feel like, man, it's not that it's not a huge thing, but I feel like my tolerance and my ability to like survive stressful and all of these different things, I'm wondering if that's just like in my blood, because I feel like I can handle a lot of things, and it just doesn't, I'm ready to bounce back. I'm ready to come back at any point with something new, and
You have been able to handle a lot, and you have, just our experience together. You've been able to handle many different situations, and you've been able to handle it with a very, you remind me of my dad in a sense. We used to call him Mr. Cool, because you could never, you could never upset him. He never allow you to get him out of sorts.
Yeah.
Right? And you have that ability where stuff is coming at you, and you're like, you kind of compress everything, and you either kind of get back to it or you explain it very succinctly so it's understood. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have that.
Yeah. I've recognized that. I've recognized that as why. Maybe it's like I'm always in an evaluation mindset. Like when things happen, I've never been a woe me. I'm always been a like, what can I learn from this?
Right.
And I feel like those learning situations help me stay neutral. And that works with children. I'm good with children, animals, and older people. I feel like that's where I'm at. And that's because those are the spaces that neutrality speaks the most.
Correct.
Because these, cats and dogs, like you can't up and down, they're now up and down. Right. Same thing with children.
Right.
I tell people all the time, I'm saying you did good the same way I'm saying I don't like what you did.
Yes.
I say it the same way you did very well.
Yes.
I was good. And I didn't like what you did.
Right.
I don't think you should do that.
Right.
So it's the same way. So they're not like confused. Right. It's actually the words that I'm saying.
Correct.
So I've been very happy for that.
Guys, Antorne McLeod. You hear him, you hear the specificity with which he thinks, and you have learned a lot of the things, the various sectors within which he's worked. His thing is about knowledge. His thing is about the community and people and what is right. So now, come with us to the other side, to Inside the Call, and thank you very much for joining in from Atlanta to sit with us, to allow us to show you the gratitude. Thank you to Cheese, our OTC team, the audience, spending this time with us. Again, like, follow, share, comment, comment,
Like,
comment.
follow, share, comment.
Yes. And get onto the ITC. But as I always say, when you're on your beat, stay on the sunny, sunny side of the street safely, be health conscious, kind to one another, and don't forget to give thanks for the little. We always miss the little and big gifts as we strive through and through this beautiful life. See you with Antorne McLeod.
Amen.
Across the way.